back. Day 2. Paul, what do you think about day 2?
Day 2, my feet hurt. We got in, more than 20,000 steps yesterday. So going out there today, I was like, I should have wore more comfy shoes.
Yeah, you did. No, I was on Team Sneakers since day 1. You tried to look more presentable than me. However, I feel like it was a detriment.
It was a rookie move. I knew better.
Oh man. Well, hey, right off the top here, let's talk about how we saved you some steps by taking the Tesla loop.
Dude, yeah. So we come out here to a construction trade show, and the coolest thing we see is the Tesla loop. Tell the people what they're missing.
Yeah, man. The Vegas loop that the Boring Company made, the Boring Company owned by Elon. It's basically a tunnel that goes underneath the convention center, makes a loop. They use Tesla cars that are driven by an actual person. You go about 40 foot underground. They bring you up to where you need to be, and it turns about a 30-minute walk into a 2-minute drive.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is like a 25-minute walk to go from the South Hall to the West Hall. There's just no good way to go. You just have to go around everything and just go there. It's a long walk. But they had that station, and it was like, hey, you walk out of the West Hall, there's a Tesla tunnel. You walk right into it, jump in a car, boom, 1 minute later, you're at literally like 1 minute later, you're at the West. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool project that we've talked about on the podcast before. The project is in its infancy. The loop around the trade show is the first stage of the project. The project should be mature in about 3 to 5 years, and that's going to encompass 50 different stops all around the city of Las Vegas. Some of the stops including, but not limited to, the airport, the Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play, all up and down the strip, a lot of points of interest. And it'll work off an app on your phone, so it'll be just like calling an Uber.
Yep. The airport, that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're in a tunnel that goes one way, no traffic jams, none of that, no lights. You're not waiting for anything. It's gonna cut down on your transit time significantly.
Well, anybody that's traveled to Vegas, the trip from the airport to wherever your hotel is, whether it's on the strip or not. Like the back before we had Uber, the cabbies would just screw you. Like they would circle all around way around Vegas, assuming you didn't know where you were going, and a $30 cab ride turns into a $60 cab ride. And then Uber comes along, and it's like, well, this is the route that your guy's going to take. And you're like, okay, well, now it's $35 or $40, so higher than what the cab would have been if he'd have done his job correctly. But hey, at least I'm not getting screwed. I know exactly where I'm going. But even then, like, to go from the airport to the strip, you have to go around. You're going around, so it's not easy transit. So to go right through, you're talking, because if you can build a tunnel, you can just do it like as the crow flies. You just draw a straight line.
Yeah.
To the airport. And so the guy was telling us today that I think it'll be done in the next few years. And then the way that you got it set up is like, yeah, it'll be on the app that you could order the ride, but hopefully it'll say like this, but like they have it set up right now, it says it's a day pass. So the convention center is free, but if you wanted to go to any of the other stops that aren't at the convention center, it's like $3.50, and that gets you rides for the day.
Yeah. Essentially, it's like you can do the same thing with the monorail that they have.
Is it a day pass? It's not a.
You can buy the day pass. You can buy per trip, or you can buy per day. But yeah, the day pass on the Vegas Loop is certainly the way to go. There's only a couple stops outside of the convention center now, but and the hours coincide with the convention center schedule. But as we were told today, once all of the stops are completed and the loop itself is completed, they plan for it to be a 24-hour service.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Let's talk about something else I saw that kind of really messed with me. Was Kubota is apparently blue.
That's right. Every one of our listeners, or for the most part anyway, when I say Kubota, you're probably thinking an orange tractor, which is good. You should. But their engine division is like a tealish, bluish, turquoise.
The corporate.
Yeah.
That's the corporate color of Kubota, is like this weird bluish color. But the point is like, so apparently they didn't think those in the United States could handle seeing the real color. So apparently 30 years ago, Kubota changed their color from being that orange, that high vis orange,
right,
to being this blue. And they just thought it would like hurt the fragile Americans' minds. So they never changed us back. We're like that guy in like the the Japanese guy on the island in World War II. Like, is the war still going on? Like 30 years later, are we still fighting? Like, that's us with Kubota tractors.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, Creosote changed their colors, and we walked past their booth 3 times the other day. So, we were had yesterday, and we were had again by Kubota being a bluish color instead of orange. But we did spend some time at their booth. We talked about hybrid technology.
That's the big the big technology rather is what they're doing these engines.
Yeah.
Different fuel sources and stuff. And, it's interesting because when I was in undergrad, like, I guess 17 years ago now, it'd be 17 years ago this year, that I remember walking into the ag shop, and the professor there at Middle Tennessee State was actually like one of the first people to put like hydrogen fuel into a car. And he, if I remember correctly, he was like one of the old Hondas, the little hatchbacks, real quick, lightweight little hatchbacks. Yep. And he basically put the hydrogen fuel cell and everything that he'd made, he basically put it in that hatch. Mm-hmm. Like it was massive. And, he was showing everybody, he had a Corvette that he built that ran off the same kind of stuff. And he was like, yeah, the only exhaust is water. And I was like, man, I wonder why nobody's doing that. And I think everyone's just scared.
There's a scare tactic.
There's a scare tactic. People were scared, like, ooh, hydrogen, it's going to blow up. Mm-hmm. But this was 17 years ago, and he had working prototypes then, but now we're seeing it in these big, massive, what were diesel engines that are the same engine block just being converted to a new fuel source.
Right. Yeah, and that's, as we saw today, that's one of the hot topics or buzz terms. So we went to a number of different booths and did some in-person interviews with the people at Kubota. We also went to JCB. They were talking about hydrogen power. We were at Perkins yesterday, and we talked about a little bit today at Kubota about their diesel hybrid pairing. So, to your point, a lot of different power sources, and a lot of people are trying to be as eco-friendly and as efficient as possible. All of those interviews and booth tours that we took yesterday and today, they'll be available on our YouTube page, and we'll share the link on LinkedIn and all of our other social media platforms. But they're certainly worth going to. A lot of good information. We had a good time.
Another really interesting conversation we had today was with Chevron, and they were talking about their greases, and they're coming out with this new grease that's calcium sulfonate based, and they're all excited about it. And it's like, well, why do they care? Why do they need to change the base of this grease? Well, the reason is because they are looking to the future, and they're like, you know what? All of our greases, like our most popular ones, they're lithium based,
right? And
they're like, and all the lithium is going to get eaten up by these batteries for these electric vehicles, and they're going to not sell this to us. We need to find a solution. We need to get ahead of this shortage on lithium. And so they're switching all their greases to a different base.
Yeah. A couple of their products actually repel water a little bit better than their lithium-based greases.
They couldn't even get the dye into it.
Yeah,
because it was repelling too good.
Yeah, they wanted to make it red, but they're like, nah, this looks goofy. We should keep it brown and call it gold.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, we had a great conversation with a rep at Chevron about grease, and all of you concrete guys out there, they actually came out with a grease that is suitable for the industry as it repels water better than their standard grease that you're probably using. So, anywhere you turn today, you could learn something that's pertinent to the industry. Even Bridgestone, we stopped in at Bridgestone and talked about tires, and they're packing technology into tires.
Of all things.
Yeah. These days, you can use a magnetic sensor that sticks to your steel wheel that will give you up to the second information on wear, on air pressure levels, about sensitivity levels, and it'll sense a puncture. It'll sense all kinds of different things that you can use to manage your fleet. So they're sticking Bluetooth technology into tires these days.
Sticking it into everything, man.
Yep. And they also make golf balls, apparently. Paul showed up to the booth with a Titleist hat on, and all these guys are like, whoa.
About got ran out the door.
Yeah. The interview about stopped before it even got going because they make golf balls. They had a driving simulator in the booth.
It was wild. It was a cool booth.
Yeah. It was a good time. But I will say that the energy level that you saw, that you took note of yesterday, it was back today.
It was back today. It was day 2, and it was still it was high energy. It's incredible.
Yep, people are still going strong. The outdoor exhibits actually got a little bit of sunshine.
So felt bad for them because yesterday it rained all day, and it was just nasty. Today was super windy. It rained all morning, And then it got really windy, and the sun poked its head out, but it's still cold. Like the wind was cold. It's kind of an odd cold because normally we're used to Vegas being pretty warm by the time we hit mid-March. It's actually a little chilly here.
Yeah. I mean, it's warmer than it is in other places of the country, but it's not vacation weather.
Yeah, this is not vacation weather.
But yeah, hopefully tomorrow's better. Tomorrow's probably like the last real day for most show goers. Usually they make a Tuesday into Thursday deal. Yeah, I would imagine by Thursday night a lot of people.
Yes, things run into Saturday. There's people here that's been here since like last Saturday.
Yeah. People are going to make this a 6 to 7 day event if you're here from start to finish.
You can't do Vegas that long.
No,
I just like there's no way.
No, after about 3 days, it turns into Groundhog Day, and it's just I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'll pour one out for the poor souls that have to man the booth for 4 or 5 days straight. That's tough.
Yeah, we saw some of those members of the Blue Army just soldiering on.
Yep. So I mean, we'll give y'all a wrap up episode when we get home, beginning of next week. We'll have that out, and we'll bring Joey Bell on the podcast so he can ask us questions and basically be the perception of the person that didn't go. But after our day 2 wrap up here, what are your thoughts on the show?
I am impressed. I've been impressed from the moment we stepped foot on the site, from the time you got checked in to the quality of the booths, to the quality of the people, to the high energy, to the Tesla loop. Everything's been really well done. I'm just really impressed. That's the first word that comes to mind. It's very impressive.
Yeah, no, they definitely brought it. They brought it this year, and it was a good welcome back from the previous one that happened right as COVID was happening.
They shut it down.
Yes, yeah, they shut it down early. Some businesses and companies didn't even come.
Volvo pulled out the week before, we heard, and then they shut it down because there's so many people were getting like super nervous.
Yeah,
it was mid-March of 2020.
Yeah,
it was a weird time.
It was. It was very unsettled times.
Very unsettled times.
People were on heightened alert back then as well. But they came back with a vengeance and definitely made it count. We've had a great show so far, and I know a lot of people share that same sentiment.
Yep, and we'll come back with a vengeance as well. So next week we'll have a wrap up. We've also got another interview that's ready for the audio only podcast. We'll have a lot of video stuff going out, so check out our YouTube, LinkedIn. We're gonna have stuff just populating left and right.
All right, yeah, well said, man. That's a good way to close it. A lot of content coming at you. So until then, y'all be good.